Welcome to Meaningful World Series on Forgiveness. This is part 2 with Dr. Ani Kalayjian. Welcome, Dr. Ani.
Hi, thank you so much. And this is our series for creating peace, but the forgiveness is the main element we're focusing on in this series because there's so many misconceptions, and the part 1 actually was dealing exactly on that, the myths and the misconceptions about forgiveness.
Why is forgiveness so challenging to practice?
That is a very, very good question because it seems like it's very difficult to practice. And it seems when people try to define forgiveness, even in scientific research, they start with saying what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not letting go of your freedom or justice. Forgiveness is not excusing human-made traumas such as incest, genocide, and domestic violence, and others. It's not about being friends again with the abusive person. And then they say what it is. So it seems there's a lot of confusion because the way the religious uh, scripts and books focused on forgiveness is let go of everything, let go of your needs, let go of your justice, let go of everything, turn the other cheek. Forgiveness is not that. So that's what we're doing. That's why we're doing these series, to really describe what it is. Because when people learn that it is something good for your own self, and it's not necessarily important and necessary for you to reconciliate. Forgiveness is not about reconciliation, because if you are in an abusive relationship, guess what? We don't want you to go back to that abusive relationship. So we don't want you to reconciliate, in fact. These are the different kinds of forgiveness. The forgiveness we are focusing on is freeing your own emotional chains that the non-forgiving spirit ties us to the perpetrator, and we never set ourselves free. So I think that is the challenge here, how much we can let go and how much we can transform and what we can manage. Did that answer the question?
Well, I'm understanding better why forgiveness is healthy for me, but I can't seem to forgive immediately after I'm hurt, cheated, or betrayed. So, what can I do about that?
That's good, but that's exactly. You cannot forgive immediately after feeling betrayed, sad, and things taken away from you, or people cheated on you. Of course, you can't, because you need to first heal from that trauma. All those areas you mentioned, betrayals, cheating, and the different kinds of pain, both physical and emotional, need to be first resolved, healed, and then you can use your choice and decide to work on forgiveness, which has several steps. We'll go into it maybe on another series. But the first and most important part is to heal yourself. It's like getting infection. You don't want to be better immediately before you clear out your infection. So the trauma is like an infection inflicted by others, either person, circumstance, or situation. So we need to first make the soil ready for forgiveness. And the soil, our soul is our soil, like the garden soil. We first, in the spring, we first prepare the garden with vitamins, oxygen, churning it a few times. So we have to exercise similar preparation to then graduate to forgiveness. The first and most important is to heal the wound, the emotional wound, and to clear out all the infections from that wound. And then we can dress it up, and then we can think about working on forgiveness. It's very challenging, and one should not even think about forgiveness immediately after a trauma. This is something very important. It's not, there's no express lane or expressway towards forgiveness. You have to go through the steps one by one. And we have the 7-step healing modality, which is based on integrative healing, integrates 7 different philosophies into one harmonious instrument that people can use to heal themselves. And other ways, there are different healing modalities, very important to heal, because we cannot forgive before healing. And even if we do, it would be very temporary, because the negative emotions, the trauma will turn into anger, to chronic hate and disappointments and frustrations, and would not allow the forgiveness to sustain. So that's why we promote the healing first and then forgiveness.
I think I'm understanding a little bit better. Thank you. But
Great.
why is it that bad things come in series? I just feel like saying, why me, God? It's so frustrating.
It is, it is. And when you are traumatized, you are more susceptible to more traumas. In fact, you become like a magnet for trauma. You're attracting more trauma in an underlying attempt to resolve the original trauma. And many scientists even talk about our birth as the original trauma, because it's such a sudden shift from a quiet environment that's surrounded with liquid, and we push around and we do anything we want, and we get our nutrients automatically, we don't have struggles, to a dry world with a smack in the bottom, extreme lights and cold temperatures. So some people say that is in fact our first trauma. But every trauma has the capacity to give us that sensation and the feeling of victimization. And victimization is addictive. So when we get the secondary benefits, such as we start feeling, oh, people are paying attention to me, people are coming with flowers and fruits and other goodies because I was traumatized. Perhaps I had an accident or something, a death in my family. So we think that is the state desirable to stay in, but that's a temporary state. A lot of us don't realize it. And we keep expecting, while attracting the negativity, we expect to feel better. But it's like a vicious cycle. So that's why it makes one feel like it comes in series. Some people say it comes in series of 3. And if it's over 3, then they go to number 7. I don't know where they go after 7. I don't want to know, because we need to heal it before it gets to even 3. But when we don't heal it, then we keep attracting more and more, and then start this victimized question that start with, why is it happening to me, God? Why is it happening to me? I have done good in the world. Why is terrible things happening to me? First of all, there's no connection between doing good and trauma happening. Trauma will happen in this world. There are human-made traumas. There are natural disasters. There are abuses that are also human-made, subtle abuses to extreme abuses of domestic violence, incest, etc. So these are, yes, they're human made. That means we can prevent it, but it is still something we need to deal, because although just us, Meaningful World has been working over 32 years preventing, putting programs, workshops to prevent these atrocities, the reality of humanity is still happening. So that's why we need to change the question from why me to what can I do about it, me? How can I change my perspective, my attitude, the way I look at things? For example, Viktor Frankl is the one who taught me that why questions are leading us to no resolution. We keep asking why and become even more and more of a victim. Because why questions? Why did it happen? Now ask yourself, why did it happen? When I ask why did it happen, I am referring to a past event that has already completed, finished. So I am taking my present self to the past. Where? To where I was a victim. And then I would feel more restricted, more helpless, and not be able to do anything. So I will freeze in the present, fearing the past and worrying about the future, while I am frozen and I'm not experiencing the joy I could be feeling in this moment. So remember, instead of why me, what can I do about it in this moment?
Wonderful advice.
It's a shift, like a shift in the channel, as they say, shift from, one station to another. Once you're mindful that you're traveling to unnecessary zones in the past or in the future, unknown areas, then red flag, come back, like they say in GPS, rerouting to the present. And we start breathing and bringing ourselves to the present.
I feel like I'm doing all the work. I'm focusing on my healing. I must manage my emotions. And now, yet another responsibility upon me is to forgive. I feel like it's just too much work.
I hear this repeatedly from other people in my private practice and even in nations. Like when we worked in Palestine, people were asking us that. Why we have to do, the victims, all the work? Why doesn't Israel do some of the work, being mindful what they're doing to others? The same thing when we were in Armenia. Remember, you were with us. They were asking why. And when we broached the topic, not even fully teaching on forgiveness, we got a whole attack, literal attack. They were saying to us, why don't you go and tell the Turks to be mindful and acknowledge their history and not repeat it as they're doing now? We cannot change other people. And we cannot wait and hold our healing process waiting for someone else. Yes, it's a lot of work. I am not in any way even presuming that it would be light work. Trauma work is very, very hard work, challenging work, but liberating, because it frees you from the chains of being hostage to your enemy or perpetrator or the person that has hurt you.
Can you tell me what the benefits of forgiveness are?
Yes. Um, it is hard work, but it pays tremendously well, right? Wouldn't you want to work somewhere where it pays well? Forgiveness is that kind of work. Once you work towards it, then your life becomes such a free, beautiful life with minimum anxieties, no worries, no victimization, no depression, no post-traumatic stress disorder. It gives you freedom to move around. You don't feel like you're the hostage of your past, or that you're liberating your spirit, your soul, even physically. It helps you feel better. A lot of people who are not forgiving, they retain more weight and fluids because they're scared to let go. Once you let go and let your meaning making kicks in, let your prayers and let your spiritual groundedness kick in, nurture those areas, and you will feel that freedom and forgiveness become like the channel for freedom for you in life in general, specific to your situation or your trauma, more particularly, because we can't change what happens to us. Of course, we can use to be more mindful to put ourselves in areas that are positive, uplifting. We learn something from those environments and those individuals and situations. But life happens. As I mentioned earlier, there are so many different, 5 different kinds of traumas. There's the individual trauma, there's the collective trauma, like the one with COVID. There is the generational trauma, those that we carry from our ancestors. And all of our ancestors have been traumatized. Look how many wars we have had in our past, how many genocides we declare never again, but repeat daily. We have the secondary or vicarious trauma that comes as a result of healers and light workers working with traumatized individuals. And there is the horizontal trauma. So, all those traumas we cannot prevent. The history shows we're not learning from the past, so we're going to tend to repeat some of these traumas and need to work on healing ourselves, healing our families, healing our communities, and then locally, and then reach out to global healing. Together, we can be stronger. As we say at the Meaningful World, when one helps another,
Both become stronger.
voila, that's what happens. We both become stronger and we both celebrate one another, uplift one another. And as our campaigns around the world, we tell them, be a true humanitarian. Don't pull each other down like crabs in the bucket, but lift one another up. Thank you so much. This has been the second chapter of forgiveness, creating peace within and all around. Thank you for joining us, and visit our website, meaningfulworld.com.